Because he helped out before the show doing a test call. Mckinley in McIntosh, Georgia. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How about you?
Pretty good. Thanks for waiting. You had a question or a comment?
I do. I was going to ask, okay, so you know how they talk about biblical clues? In a way, like they say, like, oh, the end times are coming.
Sure. Like they've said that forever.
I know.
Yeah.
But I was just curious because say a certain biblical, maybe say one single prophecy were to come true,
okay.
Correct? Would that mean that the entire Bible was true? Does that mean that you should accept everything it says because it makes one prediction?
Nope.
No?
But if one of them is false, then maybe the whole thing is suspect.
Well, it doesn't matter. Let's say there's 10 things in there, and we know that one of them's right and one of them's wrong, and the other 8 we don't know about. The answer is we don't know.
All right. Because there's also, have y'all heard about the guy that was making these little like chips? I think his name was Paul Mckinley or whatever his name was.
Chips.
Have y'all seen on you have?
I don't know what you mean, chips.
Oh, it's like a little he's like making a little $23 stock, and it's like smaller than a dime, and it says it's going to change, like, you know, it's helping with finances, and I often sometimes hear that that's like the mark of the beast or something.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, it's on the news. I don't know if you get the same news as we do, but his name is Paul Mckinley. I should have wrote his name down because I done forgot.
Okay.
But
it's a computer chip?
Not a computer. I don't know what
Potato chip?
Potato chip?
What kind of chip?
Yeah, we're just not understanding.
It's like a little tiny computer chip. You could fit 100 of them in a dime.
Okay. That's
like
not that small, but okay.
It's like an RFID tag you stick under your skin or something and get messages from God?
No, because it honestly hasn't given me much detail on it. It doesn't even tell me what category it falls in.
Okay.
But I know it's just. I would just look it up real quick, but I don't want to keep y'all whole.
Yeah, that's all right. We can move on. I don't know anything about it, but there's been lots of people talking about end times and marks of the beast and all this other stuff. And I remember growing up how a one world government was, the thing to be afraid of. Personally, I have no problem with it. I don't see how it's any different from a one nation government or a one state government or a one city government. A government's a government. And you could set one up that has proper checks and balances, where it's a participatory system like the one we're in, and a one universe government would be perfectly fine with me as long as it's done right. And it doesn't matter if you've got 5 universe governments. If they're all done wrong, that's a problem. So it's just bizarre. It is a lot of fear mongering, and it's based on ideas that Satan's going to take over this world, and there'll be trials and tribulations. And so people see evidence for the end times all the time. I mean, there's entire websites devoted to tracking all the failed predictions about when the world's going to end.
Like, now, do you think the people that try to make these predictions genuinely believe it, or do you think they just do it to try to scare people into, like kind of like waving a carrot in their face and saying?
I think there's a mix. I think there's some people who will make doomsday predictions in order to wield power and have followers, and I think there are others who sincerely believe it.
Right. You were talking about Darwin a second ago, talking about evolution, right?
Mm-hmm.
Got mentioned.
Well, yeah, I said those 2 words.
And so I was thinking, evolution is a fact, right?
Yes.
So wouldn't that mean that Adam and Eve never existed, meaning that there was never a fall, meaning that there would be no need for an end times anyway?
Yes.
Yes.
No need for Jesus either.
I know. Now,
You've hit the nail on the head. That's exactly why Christians are so terrified of evolution.
Right, because they know that if they don't have, it's almost like a sense, like I heard Dawkins say that a lot of people in the God delusion, a lot of them say that, they talk about just different things, and they often suffer from a lot of delusions at times. And I heard one, and he said, what did he say? He said, if one person suffers from delusion, it's called insanity. If many people suffer from it, it's called religion.
Yep.
I like that.
Yeah, in the pamphlet here on evolution and Christianity, there's a little Q&A, and one of the questions is, can a Christian believe in both the Bible and evolution? And the answer, according to this pamphlet, is only by compromising the Word of God.
I've been studying that just because I know it's like people often try to mix the two, and they say, okay, well, I get because y'all do y'all know Kenneth Miller, who
Yep.
works at Brown University?
Yeah.
He says he's never seen conflict between the two.
Yep.
And I'm only thinking, but there have to be some sort of conflict just for the whole creation story.
Well,
Whether you
keep in mind that there's probably as many different Christianities as there are people claiming to be Christian, right? There's lots of variation, lots of different spins and interpretation, and there really isn't sort of some objective thing out there. I mean, the Bible is somewhat objective, although there's different versions of it.
right.
But you look at how folks read it and what they read into it, and it's like a Rorschach test. They're reading in all sorts of stuff that isn't there, because most of the Bible is just wisps of stories that you have to add a lot of interpretation to get them to even make sense. And
Right.
and everybody does it different.
Right. I heard one inconsistent thing. It's this guy said he said the Bible is in totally chronological order. It's in perfect order. But then the next minute I said, hey, in Deuteronomy, Moses died, but yet still managed to write 4 books in the Bible.
There you go.
And then the person said, oh, well, the Bible is not in total chronological order.
So,
Which is it, man? Make up your mind.
so there's actually no problem there either way, but that's
Yeah.
it's kind of pointless to get into.
I have found that if you're arguing the Bible, you've ceded probably way too much ground, and
Right.
you should argue, why do you even think that the Bible has anything to tell us?
I know. I tell you, you try to talk religion with someone, it's like I heard Aranra. Do y'all know who that is? Aranra?
I think you mean Aaron Ra?
Oh, was that his name?
Yeah.
thought it-
He actually
I thought it was-
performed my wedding, and I toured with him for years, so I'm pretty sure I'm right that it's Aaron Ra.
Oh, because he was talking about when you're arguing with creationists, he said they always tend to get a glaze in their eyes, like they just kind of glaze over, and you're just talking into an empty shell. But it always seems like they can always remember the last sentence, and they can then say, "Nope, not true."
Yeah. Well, we'll find out. We've got a bunch of callers waiting. I thank you for hanging out with us for a while, McKinley, and we'll see how today goes.
All right. Do I just press end call with that?
Or or we can hang up on you.
You can do that. I can do that. I'm going to do it either way. I promise.
All right.
But thanks.
I have
Take
I've
care.
really thanked other people before.
All right. Bye bye.